What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and today we're kicking off podcast week with Parker Talba, aka Tonka, stopping on by, joining us. Tonka, thank you. Oh shit, damn it, moving it up out of the gate. What's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, there's mine. Sorry, I was muting mine. Not much, man. What's going on?
Not too much, dude. Just got back from brunch, right? How was brunch?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Like you were just braiding me for a late brunch. I mean, 2 o'clock. I don't think that's too late for a brunch.
2 o'clock brunch is kind of just lunch.
I guess so. Yeah, it was good though.
Nice, nice. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I asked you guys, the audience, on all kinds of platforms, what you wanted to hear from Tonka today. We got a lot to discuss. Probably aiming to be around a 90-minute podcast or so. We'll see what happens. But I want to say first that we do have an announcement that we're going to be making, but we're going to do that at the end, guys. I know you guys like suspense, but I'll tell you, unlike the PokerStars one, this is a real, actual announcement that has merit. So stay tuned. Should be good stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's just kick it off casually here, man. What have you been up to lately? How have things been since the World Series of Poker? Maybe you could talk about the World Series a little bit, how your experience was with that.
For sure. The World Series was good, man. I don't know how many tournaments exactly I played. I've been saying around like 15, but it could have been less. But I didn't play too many tournaments, but cashed one. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It was the first year that I've ever done more than just the main event. I think it's the fourth time I played the main. But the other years I just only played the main. I didn't play any other tournaments. But I enjoyed it, and looking forward to playing more live cards in Barcelona as well.
Did you say I didn't play many and then said you played 15?
Yeah, that's not many though. I don't feel like. I don't think I played 15. I re-entered one 3 times. Or I re-entered a 2K at Planet Hollywood and the 888 one. I think I did that one 3 or 4 times and the 2K 3 times. So I don't really count those as individual tournaments, right? Kind of. They are, but
you still played probably over twice the tournaments that I played this summer.
Yeah, and how'd that go for me? Yours went a lot better.
Well, yeah, but the strategy of win your biggest one is a pretty good.
That's a really good strategy. Yeah. I've been trying that for a while. Hasn't panned out yet.
One of these days. So how's sorry, you were saying?
No.
How's the stream life been? I saw you got back on Twitch. Back in the mix. You dropped me a host on one of my CS:GO sessions.
CS:GO, yeah. How did that go?
Well, I suck at CS:GO, so compared to
you
good.
You suck more at PUBG, and you should have been streaming that. Better game, man.
PUBG just tilts me, man. It just tilts me so. Anyway, we'll get into gaming a little bit later. I want to talk about this for a bit though. So you're back on Twitch. You got back from you were in Sweden for a week. That's correct.
Yeah, I went to Vegas 3 weeks. I was in Sweden for a week and a half. And then back now and leaving again in 9 days. Yeah, 9 days. Leaving on the 16th for Barcelona for 12 days.
What are your thoughts on traveling? Because for me, I do a decent amount of traveling for poker. And one of the things that kind of tilts me is you lose a day there, you lose a day back, and then the biggest problem I think as a streamer or making videos or anything, your setup is going to be substantially worse when you're in whatever city, right? Compared to
I hate to do it, man. And more than anything, you can get everything else easily done. You can get all your overlays put on, you can get a mic and everything. But finding solid internet as well, just on the road. Just such a hurdle.
Yeah, internet's also another problem. So what do you find as far as traveling goes? Does it burn you out at all? Do you try and travel less? Do you enjoy traveling? Well, what's your take on the way you approach that?
I enjoy traveling. I just always played anytime I traveled for like an EPT, a 5K main or something like that, and then just play that tournament one more, and then just use it as a vacation kind of thing, So I just used it as that for a long time, more so vacations than playing poker. But I really like traveling. I love to travel, and I definitely take a bunch of live trips every year, probably 6 or 7, something like that. But yeah, I do feel you on the losing a day there and losing a day back, especially if you're flying to Europe. You have 2 flights and stuff sometimes, depending on where you're going. But yeah, no, I definitely like to travel, and I've always enjoyed the freedom of poker, being able to travel and play big nice live tournaments as well.
Yeah, does that affect your decision to go places? Because I'm kind of at a point where if it's somewhere, let me give you a couple examples, right? Let's say that your options early on in the year are PCA like Aussie Millions. Like I'm always taking Aussie Millions because it's just such a better atmosphere. It's not just like a small cramped island that's way overpriced. It's like there's like a lot
PCA is
going
pretty bad.
on.
I've actually never been to Aussie Millions though. It's so far. I went to PCA twice because it's just like pretty close and just like one packages or whatever. But I don't know. I've never made it to Aussie Millions, but I've heard it's good.
How'd you like PCA?
The first time I liked it because I was like, it was one of my first like big live events, so I was like super excited just like to be anywhere really. But yeah, I mean the second time it was pretty shit. Like yeah, like you said, like this tiny little overpriced place. You don't really leave the resort. It's not great.
Doesn't sound great.
It's not great, but they do have the Stars Bank, so that's good.
All right, so let's take a step back here. I had a lot of questions. Actually, this might have been one of the most common questions that I got. People want you to talk a little bit about how you got into poker. What was that first step like? What kind of bankroll did you start with? Like, what was the beginning of your poker journey like?
So getting into poker, like I played with my dad and my mom, but mostly with my dad when I was like, 14, 15 years old. Like we used to play like 5 cent, 10 cent online and stuff like that. But like me actually starting on my own, I had like $100 and I went to the casino and I played 1-2 and I lost that. And then I got another $100 for my birthday and I went to the casino and I played with that, but I spun it up from there. And then I just played like live cash for a while and eventually just migrated to online.
Oh, interesting. So you started with live poker.
Yeah, well, I played like online like back in the day, but I was 18 years old going to University of Ottawa and like just over the border in Quebec in the French part of Ontario. You could play at the casino at 18, so I went like on my birthday to play. But like hadn't played like online. Like I didn't play online like underage. I did, but like with my parents' consent, so it was different. It felt like.
What was it like, playing poker with your dad? Because I feel like if you grow up in a household that like has poker, going on, your view of it's probably going to be like a little more, I don't know, sophisticated than like I guess when most people think of poker when they first hear about it. What was that like?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty good. Like we all got into it like watching like old school WPTs. It was actually pretty hilarious. And then my dad put like 20 pounds on, like they fired up like WPT.com. And I think he put like 20 pounds on or something. And then we used to play 5p, 10p limit, 5 pence, 10 pence limit. And one day we discovered no limit. And we were like, wait, so you could win like a 20-pound, like all in pot free? And we're like, yeah, we never played limit again. But we played limit for like a month or 2 months, just like grinding it out. Yeah, those were the days, back in the good old 5p, 10p on WPT days.
Yeah, I remember the micro stakes, man. I played like a few home games with like some friends in high school and stuff, but like what really gave me my start was like, dude, straight up 1 cent, 2 cent. Like I
1 cent, 2 cent. You were just a battler in there.
Dude, I have played more 1 cent, 2 cent than like, I mean, I'm sure there are people with more play with me there.
Did you play some in the Bankroll Challenge? Did you start at that?
Shit, man. Yeah, I played a little 1 cent, 2 cent last year. Bankroll Challenge.
The Bankroll Challenge.
Oh God. Okay, so you started with like, some live poker with your family stuff. What was like your first like step towards like playing like seriously, because you obviously spun up some Bankroll Live. What did you first get into online? And I know you have a lot of like background playing sit and goes and stuff. You want to talk about kind of how you got into that?
Yeah, sure. So like I came home for the summer and like I couldn't play like live poker, right? Because it was only 18 at this one casino and there was no casinos around me and there were 19 anyways and I was 18. So I started playing online and I was like, oh, like I play like one table of 1-2 live. So like that'll just transition into like 4 tables of 50 NL 6 max. And I was like, that makes sense. Like I'll just play that. Did not go well, like lost like $2,000 of like the 5,000 I had. And my friend was like, you should play tournaments. And I was like, okay. And then he sent me $100 on Stars. Like I was playing on Full Tilt at the time. And I played like some tournaments and I just got second in like the what's the big 11 now is the daily 40 gram back then. An $11 tournament, just got second for like 11K on my first day of playing tournaments. So I was like, okay, so this is easy.
You know what? I always, just not to cut you off, I always see this with tournament players. I feel that when people find out about tournaments, everyone gives it a shot. Everyone plays a few. The idea is great. And then how you run in that first
it just determines if you're a tournament player.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm one of the ones dummies that bing. So now I'm stuck here. But I mean, we did get a nice break in the middle where we played some sit and goes. That was much better.
What was that? What made you interested in sit and goes from tournaments? How did that go?
So I played tournaments. So that the rest of that summer I played tournaments and I had like a pretty reasonable success. I spun up like a 50K bankroll in the next like 2.5 months in the summer, and I was like, well, I'm not going back to school. Like I'll just play poker instead. So I did that, and then I lost like 35K of it back, I think, and only had like 15K left. Like just obviously playing like a dummy. Like no bankroll management involved in this really. Um, and then I was going to go back to school, and a friend was like, why don't you just play some sit and goes? So I started to play 18-man sit and goes, and then I played a ton of those. And I played those for maybe like 8 months or something, and moved up and, got a lot better. And I had like a really smart friend, like, giving me like tips on like ICM and like understanding shit like that. It's like obviously just like oblivious to most things at the time. And then while I was playing that, I still played like some Sunday tournaments, and I just got second in the Sunday warm up when I was just playing like 3 tournaments every Sunday. That was like the only tournaments I played. I just got second in like the Sunday warm. It was like double vision as well, so it was huge. It was like for like 90K or something. And then just sort of started playing 6 max after that, and then just realized it would be easy enough to get Supernova Elite, and then did that for 3 years in a row.
I didn't realize that you got Supernova Elite.
Yeah, I got Supernova Elite 3 years in a row, and then one of the years had the second most VPPs.
Wow,
like 3.3 million or something.
You got over 3 million VPPs in a year.
Yeah, those are the days, dude. The days of the grinder. I used to grind really hard. Yeah, those are the days of like playing like 300 to 1K 6-max hypers and 2K and 5K turbos. Only at closer to the end because those weren't a thing the entire time. But yeah, I used to play those, and I used to play like 2 4-hour sessions a day, like 7 days a week. Like at least mostly. Sometimes just like straight through and whatnot. But yeah, I was playing like 8 to 9 hours a day.
That's nuts, dude. I was always the biggest fish with the VVP program. I was always in there for the like 600K VVPs a year.
Yeah. You're just not getting any of the value at all.
Just no value. I'm just in there for like a lot of volume, but no value.
Yeah. I mean, I was the opposite. I was just like, I'm just going to make a lot of points and play more than everybody else. You were like, I'm going to play one table and fucking smash my opponent. I was like, I'm going to like coast by in the field, but like play 10 times more than everybody else.
Well, dude, for a long time, I 24 tabled and was trying to rake back grind my way there. But then
in 6-max or full ring cash or what?
Yeah. So I got my start in a full ring. I was 24 tabling 1 cent 2 set, and I just like slowly worked my way up to like mid stakes or whatever. But the thing is, the problem is that mindset and that approach, it can, well, okay, so it's different 5 or 10 years ago, right? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Different. Yeah, like it was a very different landscape. You could do it a lot easier. But I feel nowadays it's just so competitive. You're just not going to get to good stakes doing that.
No, it's definitely, well, also like the option's just like literally not there for like the road that you would take, like that I did it in, like maybe you can still like mass table and beat cash, but like obviously the rewards system is just like not, you can't, I mean, I guess we'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, you like can't do that now, I mean,
we can jump into it. I mean, like,
used to get like 68%, at Supernova Elite with like all of the leaderboards. Dude, they used to have Battle of the Planets. So this leaderboard was like once a week for each different stake. They'd have like 4 different stakes or something, and they'd give you like $1,500 if you won it. And it was just like your best results in like game blocks of like 100. And so like, man, there were so many more rewards. I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent here with this Battle Plans thing, but it was like they just gave out an extra like 6K a week or something like that to sit and go grinders.
Just free money.
Just legit free money, yeah.
And nowadays, you can't even get Supernova Elite. That's not even a thing anymore.
It's not a thing, no. There's not even Supernova. Like you can't even get the cool stars on your name anymore.
I actually didn't know that they got rid of Supernova as well.
Yeah, there's like no, I don't think there is any sort of like ranking system anymore. I think it's just those crates. Like everyone's rakeback is just like individual little crates.
Yes, I don't know. We were actually just joking about this before the podcast started. I don't know why everyone is so insistent on this. They really want to know what is up with the chests, because I don't even know. Seriously, I get like 5 tweets a day. They're like, "So Doug, are we gonna talk about these chests or what?" And I'm always like, "I don't know. I have not really looked at the chests." And like, now of course I'm sponsored by Stars. I should probably have to talk about them a little bit.
Dude, by far the best part in that video, by the way, I want to tell you, I didn't say before, but was when like you freeze and you're looking at Vanessa Selps and you're like, I've already been a sponsored pro or whatever. I crack up so hard at that part. That was
Thanks,
the best
man.
part.
Yeah, I love that. Making that video
Oh
was
god.
was it was so fun, dude. It was just so much fun. And that's like that's God, we're like going in so many different directions here.
Yeah.
I want to talk about content and stuff a little bit later. Let's just take back and talk about the whole rake back thing. So what are your general thoughts on the way that it seems like that space is moving? Because I think we're seeing more and more emphasis on the recreational players getting more money back. We're seeing companies at least stars be a little more sketchy with some of the moves. There was a recent thread on Reddit where they were talking about how stars used to, if there was a 215, it used to be 200 plus 15. Now it's
And
just
now it's
says
just 215. Yeah. Dude, yeah, somebody mentioned that in our chat the other day, and we're like, wait, are they gonna just like bump the rake without anybody really realizing? Like send an email, but like you won't notice it in the lobby unless you click on like tournament info or something. Like that
well, it
would be pretty
certainly
sneaky.
seems like that they're going that
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah, that would be pretty sneaky, man.
Also, with the whole chest thing, I'm in America. I've not opened any chests, but I imagine it has to be a very low percent rake back, especially for some of the pros.
Yeah,
And
I'm not really sure what people said, but like your max like EV rakeback is now like 10 or 20% or something. I don't know if I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but yeah, it's pretty low, I think.
yeah, the whole idea of wow, you played here, so you just pull a lever and some random stuff happens, and oh my God, you won $10 or $5 or whatever. It just seems
Yeah, they're just
ridiculous to
really
me.
going for like the person who plays like 4 times a week, you know? They play like an hour a night, like 4 times a week. They're going for like that person, like getting excited for the chest, I guess. And like getting excited for opening it up and stuff. Like they're obviously not going for somebody who's opening up like 5 a day. Like they're trying to cater to like the audience that opens up like 2 a week or something. I'm not sure.
I
And
do
then they
feel like though you know what it kind of feels like to me. It seems like the people that are running that division at Stars or whatever are thinking of all poker players like they're just gamblers. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely a lot there are a lot of poker players that are gamblers. They like just gambling on whatevs. I understand that. But I think that the difference really to me, the way that I perceive poker players versus other gambling forms, poker players are always looking to have an edge. Sometimes taking it too far, doing a little angling, but in general they're looking to have an edge on people, right? And I think like trying to be like, oh, poker players are going to love this because it's gambling or whatever. I feel like it's kind of insulting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I don't know. They're just doing it for people like get like super excited about it, you know? Who are gonna be like, ooh, a chest, because then the people are gonna be like, some guy that deserves like $1.50 in rake back is just gonna like bink a $1,000 chest or something. I don't know. It's so weird just to like add variance to like rake back.
I guess at minimum, like people are talking about it, so that has to be worth
Yeah.
something. But yeah, let's talk about the other side of the coin here. Last year, or sorry, early this year, or was it late last year? When did you join 888?
Joined it about 7 months ago, I think. Like beginning of this year.
Okay, so you joined up with 888. What has your experience with them been like? Are you happy with the direction that they're going? What's your experience with 888 been like?
It's been really good, man. Like everybody I work with is like really solid, really fun people. Yeah, I mean, I like the direction they're going. They're implementing like a live series. Like, hopefully, it just keeps on growing. Like, the main events have been doing really well. I mean, they're a bit smaller than like most other series. It's only like 888 euro or pound main event. But hopefully, they grow and they get bigger. I really like that direction. But yeah, I mean, they got some good tournaments on there now. It was really weird. I was playing the 1K whale yesterday on Sunday, and it was actually a bigger payout for first than the Stars Sunday Grand, the 1K.
Wow.
But the whale had like 40 less entrants. It had like 170 entrants, including re-entries. So maybe that has something to do with it. But the Sunday Grand had like 220 or something. Had like 60 or 70 people more and less money for first.
Do you think it was the payout structure or the rake that affected that?
I mean, I thought it had something to do with the payout structure, but yeah, the rake would make sense, right? Because they don't have rake on re-entries.
It's got to be some combination of both. We got a good comment here from Spencer Phillips, and I got to agree with the guy here. 888 software is AIDS. And you know, like I've played some on 8.8. I've done a little bit of streaming there. The games are soft. They're way softer than Stars, for example. But the
Mhm.
software is really tilting. You know, I feel like so often I'm playing like 4 or 5 tables. I'm like, oh, I've just been sitting out on 8.8 for like the last like orbit.
So I don't that doesn't happen to me anymore, but that did happen to me at the beginning when I was like a little bit less used to it at least. But yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Like it's not as good as other sites that have been around for long or for the same amount of time, whatever. But I think there is some pipeline down the line that we're gonna fix it. That's gonna get better. So
that's,
I'm
that's
hoping for
exciting.
that. But it's
Well,
I mean I've gotten pretty much used to it now, and it's like very solid for me. It's like totally fine. But yeah, some customizable things would be cool.
yeah, it would be. So, well, what are they doing for? I know they've been running the Inferno XL series, like during the Coops, during Scoop. They did that. I think they did it during last W Coop as well. I assume they're going to run something similar in the upcoming Coop.
Yeah, we already have another 888 XL event, like an XL Eclipse, I believe, that's in September. So that should be pretty good. Always have like a huge like 1K main event. So that's solid.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, like
yeah, I
lots of
remember
good
that.
tournaments. Yeah, you streamed that one, I think.
Yeah, I went deep. I got like 27th or something.
Yeah, I was watching you for like a brief like 15, 20 minutes or something. And he managed to check shove like 110 big blinds in that time with like a blocker, just a nut flush blocker on the river into like a 15 big blind pot.
He folded, right?
Of course, it's a tournament. They always fold to the big check raises.
I've I've always enjoyed those like absolutely just ridiculously massive bluffs.
Over bet bluffs, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, in tournaments, people are just like, because like I've had these conversations where the talk isn't like about bluffs, but it's about like, okay, so the pot's 5 bigs, the guy jams 100 here on the river. Like, what are you calling with? And so many people are like, oh, just always fold because like they're just trying to stack you or whatever. So I
Mhm.
feel like in tournaments in those spots, players will just lay down like almost whatever. I mean, I don't think the
Yeah.
guy had
I
like
mean
a
the whole like tournament life argument as well, right? Like people just like don't risk it like that many chips unless
yeah.
they're sure.
I think I remember that hand too. It was like a check
And
check flop.
yeah. And then
It
you
was
just like check pile the river.
yeah. It was like the river made it one to a straight, but the flush got in on the flop or the turn or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
those spots are
and I mean
brutal.
most people in tournaments just like don't take those like crazy big bluff lines very often as well. Like I feel like it's I mean I know it doesn't happen like all the time in cash, but definitely you guys are more experimental and do more things like that, I feel like.
We live life on the edge.
Yeah.
I feel like the real like hardcore cash guys like wouldn't even say I'm a cash reg anymore, and then the tournament regs definitely are not calling me a tournament reg. I feel like I have no home. I have no,
You have no home. You're wavering in between homes.
I'm in between homes here. All right, so let's talk about streaming a bit
Sure.
because you know I've done a chunk of streaming. I've not done nearly as much streaming as you've done.
Mhm.
Um, and I realized pretty quickly while doing it, and this is something that I think a lot of the audience doesn't really understand. Streaming it's really hard. It's very
Yeah.
difficult because you have to not only be okay for starters. Like poker is different than video games in that poker is very strategic and for money. So
Mhm.
like you can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever in these tournaments because like I'm talking to people. You gotta focus, especially on like the bigger stuff. You have to focus on like playing good poker while you're trying to entertain people, and that combo is really hard. So how do you find streaming, and do you feel like sometimes like it burns you out having to do so much of it, or do you really enjoy it?
All of the above. I definitely still enjoy it. But yeah, like it's like you said, it's like super hard, man. And like especially when you're doing like 4 or 5 days a week for extended periods of time. I mean, like it's like you said, like playing poker is hard enough, and then throw in being like upbeat and energetic and like talking to people and explaining what you're doing as well, like pretty much all the time. Um, but yeah, it's good though. It's good though, and it's easier when you're winning as well. It's much easier when you're winning. Like as people know, like that follow me and whatnot, we've had like a somewhat of a downswing for a few months, and it's much harder to like stream and be like, okay, yeah, so like he's gonna have it most of the time here, but we still have to call, because we're getting like a great price, and then they just have it like 100% of the time, like 15 times in a row. And then you look like a moron. Um, but yeah, running good helps for sure with the stream, just like for like balancing back and forth, like when it's better, but
They'll turn
nobody's
on you too.
to talk. Yeah, quickly. People will turn on you.
And I'm not sure what it is. I think it's part when you have just enough people watching something, right? Like let's just say you have a few thousand viewers,
Hmm.
then part of those people are going to be people that really love you. In fact, they're mainly going to like you because there's a reason that they're there. But there
Hmm.
are a lot of people there, because a surprisingly large number, that are there to see you fail.
Yeah,
They're
dude. Every time that like I'm playing like a big pot or something, and I'll have like the third or fourth nuts will be like, all right, so we've got like a really like easy like 3 barrel here for value, and there'll always be like one or two people in the chat just like rooting for the quads or something, just like, oh, one time 5-5 for like quads. Like, fuck you, man, come on. But yeah, like every single time there's like a big hand like that is at least one of them.
Yeah, and when you get stacked a few times in a row, or maybe even you just have like a few bad days, and when you play tournaments, that's gonna happen. You're gonna have your really, really good days, but you're mainly not. You're mainly gonna have your tough days where things go badly. It's the way the
Yeah,
game
well,
type
most of your
works.
days in tournaments are losing days, right? You have more losing days than winning days, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean the people can't handle that. They
Yeah.
can't take it. If they see you lose 3 days in a row, you must suck because they
Yeah.
were there 3 days in a row and you lost every day. How do you
Yeah,
explain
man.
that?
If you won 3 days in a row, or even if you just won one day that they saw when you were there, like this guy runs the best in the world. He never loses.
All the time. How many times have people told you? I haven't seen someone say this to you, but I just guarantee you that they have. How many times people told you that you flop more sets than anyone that they know?
Yeah, dude.
Every time in the chat,
Uh,
dude, must be nice flopping another set.
to
Every
be fair,
time.
you do flop more sets than everybody else.
Me specifically?
So. No, that doesn't happen to me because I like literally don't flop sets.
Oh God, here we go.
So like people can't even they can't even make that comment after seeing like one or two.
All right, next time when Tonka's streaming and you guys at home see him flop a set, I want some harassment in the chat that he does flop sets. It does have.
Mhm.
I think a big part of it, though, by the way, is like when you play 4 tables or whatever, you're always gonna have the action on the most interesting table.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have okay, here we go. Well, we flopped the set on table 1, but we just folded king 6 off in the cutoff on table 4. We're gonna keep it over here on table 4. No, you put it on table 1. Let's like see the set.
I mean, even when I'm like, I usually play more than just like the 4 tables, right? I'm usually playing like 7 or 8 tables. So even when I have like a set on the other table, I'll be like, oh, I've got a set over here. And sometimes I'll like drag it over, like a dummy. So we get all the tables even. So yeah, you have like a pretty reasonable chance to flop a set sometimes if you play more tables. I feel like those people are just always people that just play one table as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like
Or maybe they don't even play that much. They just like play it every now and
yeah,
then.
and don't realize that you're playing like 7 or 8 games at the same time.
Yeah. Can you handle that? I feel like after 4 tables, streaming and playing gets really tough.
Yeah, so I think I'm averaging around like 6 to 8, probably like 6 or 7, which is like fine. Like it's just like right beside on my other screen, so it's like not such a big deal. But yeah, like on Sundays, like at peak time, sometimes get up to like 10, 11, and 12 even, and then
While
it's
you're
like super
streaming?
stressful. Yeah. Like I like peak time on Sunday, like you can get up to like 12 pretty easily of just like good like solid tournaments.
Are you even watching the chat really at that point?
Yeah, still reading like a lot, but like you read less during like the 2 hour like peak period. But no, I'm still like reading like almost everything.
So you're saying is like, you got S&E for a reason. This guy can grind. You can handle a lot of tables.
Yeah, we can. I mean, that was when I played Sit and Goes, right? I just like 16 tabled 6 max hypers all the time. So like, I mean, playing like 8 tournaments is a breeze.
So this is actually another thing that someone brought up, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of been changing over the last few sessions. But I know you went on a pretty big downswing in the last like 6 months or so, 4 months
Yeah,
or so,
something
something like
about that.
that.
Yeah, 5-6 months. Yeah.
So how have you been dealing with that? Like, what things do you do when you're on a downswing to try and make sure that you're still focused, still playing well? Do you feel like downswings affect you?
Not so much as they will like most people, because I've like been on so many, like especially when I play like Sit and Goes, like the swings were just like super, super, super volatile. Like win lose like 20 to 50 buy-ins in a session, even like had some like plus 80 buy-in sessions, and like even I think I lost 100 buy-ins one day. That was a really, really bad day.
Dude, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play like 300 to 400 Sit and Goes a day. So like it was that, but that was incredible streak. I think I had like a 36 in a row, no cash swing or something. But yeah, so like MTTs is like a downswing is like a significantly less tournaments than like that. So I don't know. I feel like I'm just at a point where I've been through on a lot of them, and I realized that like this is going to happen in tournaments. So, but yeah, I mean, I do like I cut out some of the tougher things towards the end of the downswing, and obviously you do some review, you make sure you're not going crazy, and just battle through. Realize you're not special, and other people go on these downswings as well. It's not like the world's out to get you, and just keep grinding, I guess.
Yeah, I really like how you put that. I think like realizing that you're not special is so important.
I mean, everybody has so much entitlement. They're like, my kings lost to aces, or my aces lost to kings. I guess I did it the wrong way. But
yeah, whenever someone's like, "Oh, you're not gonna believe this bad beat," I'm like, "No, I'm going to. Just don't tell me."
Trust me. Yeah, I've had that bad beat probably 8 times. Like, yeah, people get very entitled to winning.
I think it's like pretty natural though, and anything that's competitive where you want to win, you want to do well. When you lose, it hurts a little bit, especially when it's for money. And it can feel like when that happens in succession, which it will, you're gonna like if you play poker for a living or you just play a lot, you're gonna go through a period of time where you're gonna constantly lose, and it's not gonna be the fun kind of losing where like you still win some.
No, you get crushed in every single spot type of lose. Like that's the really bad time, right? When you win you lose with your good hands, you lose with your bad hands, you lose every flip. That's when it feels bad.
I also think something happens in terms of just overall mentality, where one thing I've seen in poker, I think when players are winning, they're more likely to make, a big call that they feel they need to make. They're more likely to pull the trigger on a big bluff. They're more likely to just live and die with their decisions. But I think that at some point players kind of get shell shocked and they're like, oh man, does he really have aces again? I don't want to get stacked again. And then you start, it changes how you play a little bit. So what do you?
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, so how do you handle that, like in tournaments where it can just be so many days of devastation? Do you like as far as mindset stuff goes? I don't really know how much you're into the mindset side of poker, but how do you stay sharp through that?
It, but yeah, I mean, I haven't done like I've just started meditating a little bit and trying that out. But yeah, I don't know. For mindset, just if you're like confident in your game and like you're confident in yourself beating like the tournaments that you're playing, then battling through like the tough times should just be easier, just because you just have yourself convinced that you are going to beat these games over X amount of sample, so that it just will turn. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty hard in tournaments because, like you said, it's like pretty easy just to brick like a month in a row. Like it's like very easy. Like you don't play enough tournaments to really realize it sometimes. And you will just run bad. But I don't know. Just like sticking with the fact that if you're confident, you seem to be confident. Like obviously you get confident through reviewing and through playing a lot. Like I just always learn through like playing a lot, But obviously you do need to do review and whatnot. Keep yourself afloat.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where sometimes I think it gets over exaggerated how important it is. Like I can't even tell you when I first started playing poker, I'd go to the casino and there'd be some old guy like, son, I've been playing poker since before you were born. and then limps in like, the hijack. And I'm just like, I don't want to argue because I know that.
Are you like referencing Phil Hellmuth right now? Like,
no,
your big match coming up?
Oh man, I'm excited for it, dude.
Yeah, I just saw that today. Actually, when is that?
It's gonna be on August 22nd. We're the first semifinal, and Jungle and Frank Cassell are the other one.
Semifinal? Was there a quarterfinal?
No, we're just it's a best of 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Should be
winner
fun,
take all.
Are you gonna beat Phil?
I feel good about my chances. I mean, first, so like you never really know because it's like it's gonna be like well, depending on how things go, only like a 2-3 hour match, right? And blinds are gonna go up, so even if you have an edge, like how often do you really win? Like you're not winning 60,
Yeah.
So like I feel as good as I can about going in that. I'm like just like excited for how fun it's going to be to play.
It should be a good time.
Dude, I get to play high stakes heads up with Phil Hellmuth. And like if like there's a bad beat like out of the gate, like
lose his mind.
He's gonna lose it. He's gonna lose it.
Intense pre-version. That's all you gotta do.
He's actually, I was looking this up. He actually has some like he has a pretty good record in heads up tournaments.
Yeah, I saw the YouTube video that you posted about like the pods and like playing him and talking about it or whatever. But yeah, like he won the one. He won one of them, right? Or did he win it twice?
He won. I think he won one. I think he won a different one. I think he has like some other caches. Like he has. Look, here's the thing about Phil Hellmuth I don't get, man. I just don't get it. I will like look at him playing in any individual event, and I'll be like, okay, that was bad. What was that? And then there will be some like totally outrageous fold where like he'll have like 3 blinds and fold like queens or whatever. You know, like it'll be some insane fold.
Had a live read. Some white magic was popping off.
Yeah, and then everyone laughs, and then you like look at like the numbers, and like for just years he's just crushed everything.
He just crushes everything. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like, so do you know who Pisagno is?
Sorry, who?
Caio Pisagno or Pisagno. He's like this Brazilian stars pro for a while, but he's not anymore. But like he was just like the craziest player ever. But I mean, I think what people settled on was that his fundamentals were awful, but he's like the best person at exploiting wrecks ever or something. But like he used to like limp fold off of like 5 big blinds on like final like turbo final tables and stuff like that. And just like do some of the craziest, most absurd shit. And he just like printed money. Like he just played like a softer schedule and just like literally printed like $1 million+ or something like that in tournaments, and just like played so obscenely weird. But well, just managed to crush it.
There's definitely something to be said for, especially nowadays when people are just so deep in the lab and like in like numbers and just like trying to play like a perfect style or whatever. There certainly is some advantage to playing in a unique way.
An unorthodox style, yeah, because I mean, for not sounding like a fish, like people don't see it coming.
Yeah, there's a really good example of this at the high stakes cash games on Stars a few years ago. There was a guy named Eccentric BG. I think he still plays.
Dude, I know him. Yeah.
You know who
he's a freak. Yeah, he played some tournaments and he played some sit and goes as well. He played some high stakes sit and goes. So like 2K6 max and stuff.
Yeah, so he would only limp into the pot, except for the button, I think, but in any other spot.
He would exclusively limp in. He's a winning player though, right?
Yeah,
he won a bunch of cash, right?
I'm not sure exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know if he was a crusher, and I don't think he was, but he was like a winning reg, and I would just watch. I'd be at the table, and it was back when I was trying to do 6 max 2 before I was like, these guys are just too sharp, and like this is too tough. But anyway, I would be at the table, and then I would just see someone just like play this hand against him, where like he would limp in, and then like just madness would ensue. Like there would be like limply raise, they call with whatever, flop comes, just like betting and raise, and then it gets to showdown, and like okay, he limped pre, right? But like the rest of the hand, he played extremely well. You know, he played the hand well. And then the other guy just like flipped out because he got limply raised and just like went crazy and just did some like insane stuff. So there's definitely value there. There can be value in taking suboptimal lines if you can get people to do ridiculous stuff.
Definitely. There's another guy in tournaments, My Poker F. Have you ever seen him before?
I think I've heard of the name, but I'm not sure.
But he plays people. A lot of people think or like thought that he was like a bot, because he just plays like super crazy and just does some really weird, crazy, like limping, like 4.5x, like overbet bluffing in tournaments. And just like, he does it like all snippety snap as well. Like so often just be like, it'll get to him and like within like a second, like he's put out like a 2x pot bet on the turn. He's just like super fucking random, but he just like crushes actually. Like I had him noted as a rec for like a year and a half or something. And then I found out he's just like a huge crusher.
That kind of reminds me of Isildur a little bit, actually. They'll like just like it gets him instantly 2x pot, just like 2x pot's gonna be what it is here, you know.
2x pot's gonna be what it is. You love that?
I mean, it just reminds me of Isildur a little bit. Like
yeah. I mean, I was like playing like $2 tournaments when the big Isildur games were running. I can remember sweating it on like high stakes poker threads.
It was something that I was glad that I got to do in my career, where when I came into the game, I remember the whole him and Dur thing. That was just like insane. And I was like, man, one day like I want to do that. And I actually got a chance to play Isildur at those stakes. I got absolutely destroyed the time we played the highest stakes, and I lost $1 million. But I got
lost $1 million. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he beat me for $1 million. Yeah.
That doesn't feel great.
The sick thing is too, I think like I ended up like up 1 or 1.5. But like we played a lot of sessions where I won small, And then we just had this day where like I just lost inf. He just like kept stacking me like repeatedly. It just like and it was at like
How do
400,
you deal with
800.
like what's your mindset when you're playing like that? Like mindset for like tilt and stuff when you're playing like 5-hour sessions of heads up when you're stuck like 20 buy-ins.
Well, if you're gonna play heads up just to begin with, you gotta just have like extremely good emotional control, or you're just not gonna be able to last because everyone's gonna, if you play high enough stakes, no matter how good you are, you're gonna eventually just get clobbered, just
Yeah.
guaranteed. You don't control when, you don't control who. It's just guaranteed at some point someone's gonna lay the smack down on you, and then you might not play that high again for months, right? So it's like those moments are really important. And even someone like Jungle, I think, is a good example. He rages when he loses, but if you watch how he plays, it doesn't really change. Like I think like emotionally, he's just really invested in it, but he doesn't actually change how he plays.
He doesn't like tilt when he goes off like that.
Well,
That's
because
pretty
if you,
incredible though that you can like rage like that hard in like the chat box and like it doesn't affect your play.
yeah,
Like that's like a special kind of person, man.
It is. No, it is. I actually have a good story. So like back in like 2010 or so, 2009, 2010, whatever, Jungle came to visit me here in Las Vegas, right? And at the time, I think I was playing like mainly mid stakes or something. I think I was playing 2, 4, and 3, 6, and whatever. And he was like seated a few seats over, like in this grind area, playing 501K, like whatever, and then like some like 200, 400. Like he's just playing like the nosebleed stuff, right? And we're both like grinding. And then all of a sudden, I just hear him like pound the table. He's like, "God damn it!" And I'm like, "What's?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "I just never hit. I never hit." And I'm like, "How's the session going?" He's like, "Well, I'm up 100K, but I never hit." And he's like so mad, And I look back at my screen, and I'm currently down like 1.5K or something, or like 1K or what, whatever like mundane result. And I'm just like watching him rage while he's just like crushing somebody, right? And I'm like, man, what I would do to be up 100K today, But
it's so crazy. Like you said, like he's winning as well. So he must just be like, anytime he doesn't get there, he just feels like the unluckiest person.
Well, I think that the thing for Jungle is like he's just like a really competitive person. Like he badly wants to win. And like he's got a lot of talent. Like he's a good poker player. So like that combination I think is what made him so fierce and like why he like got to the top or where he is today. But sometimes people still just like emotionally just like struggle a little bit. And it's funny because the other person that's kind of like that is Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah, definitely.
I was
like
praying.
Yeah.
I was praying they were going to play each other in the first round. Even though like for me like it's fun to play Hellmuth, don't get me wrong.
But yeah, the two of them playing each other, yeah. That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, they are both going to be on this podcast. Hellmuth's going to be here tomorrow and Jungle on Wednesday. So if you guys want to hear from them too, I'm sure that they've got some interesting things to say about the upcoming tournament. But anyway, let's move on here. So I actually have a little bit.
I'm gonna snag a quick glass of water if you don't mind, like 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, sure, no worries. All right, what's up, chat? We're gonna do a couple quick shout outs here. How's everybody doing? Dave Robb in the mix. Sandro Kilovich, what's going on? Online poker is not rigged, by the way, Kelly Bolts. Hate to break it to Kelly. Sorry. Real Big Nuts, just wanted to stop by and say F you, Doug. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Glad you decided to stop by for the day. It's always good to get feedback. Always good to get feedback. Harms, what's up, man? Glad to see you here. Always happy to see you stop by. What else we got in the mix? Oh, man, the chat's going nuts now. Going nuts. E-Prom in the mix. How's it going, man? Good to see you here today, too. Marcus Steinhauer.
All right.
Got the subs. All right, cool. All right, so let's jump into this because I think this is actually something that I think that we are both on the list of people that probably struggle with this to some extent. Stable is probably also in the mix there too. I feel like it's so hard to be healthy while doing all of the streaming and videos and everything. I feel like striking that balance is so difficult. What do you want to just talk about health and poker and streaming and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been an incredibly healthy person for like a long time. Just through like transitioning from like, going to school, becoming a poker player, living on my own, I was never incredibly healthy. person. But recently I've changed that, or I mean, not super, like pretty recently, like a few weeks ago. But yeah, I've been being a lot healthier and think it's like pretty important, like for mindset wise. I mean, everyone's going for the mindset game these days. But yeah, I mean, I think being healthy and being on track is like really helpful. And like you said, it's really, really hard to like find a balance, right? Because after you stream or make videos or something, like you're just dead. Like you do not want to do anything. So you really got to do it like in the morning. The key is book 150K bet, Jamie says. Yeah, that's a good motivator. I wish I had that. I actually have a buddy staying with me who's like an incredibly healthy human being. We call him Bobby the Body because he is just like very, very like all about like healthy living, healthy mind, and everything like that. And he's basically being like my life coach at the moment. He's staying with me for like another month while he finds a place in Toronto. But yeah, it's really good.
Awesome, man. Yeah, like so what I found, I actually have a graph of this. When I got into streaming until like about
Yeah, you were talking about you put on a bunch of weight, right? Like
yeah,
when you
yeah, yeah.
stream for a few months.
So I have like one of those scales that like tracks your weight, and I actually sat down and I looked at my graph of like what my weight was like when I started doing videos and streaming up until like around earlier this year. Like it was like for the first like 8, 10, 12 months or whatever of like the whole thing. And I think I put on like 20 or 25 pounds in just like a year. And a lot of that was like exactly what you just said. The day finishes, you just streamed for 9 hours straight. Assholes are yelling at you. You got stacked 4 times. You lost 10K or whatever, lost whatever on the day. And then it's like you're just like deliriously tired and you're just thinking, oh, man, I could so go for a salad.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking. You're just like, man, if I could just get a nice big salad with some nice olive oil and salt on it, that'd be perfect.
It's tough, man. It's so tough to balance that. So like, have you been trying harder lately to like keep that balance?
Yeah, definitely. I find it's like so much easier with someone else here, like with like living with a roommate. Like if I'm on my own or whatever, and like the session finishes, I'm not gonna be like, okay, let's go to the grocery store and whip up a meal. You know, like that's just not something that's gonna happen. But yeah, I have been cooking a lot, and my buddy that's here has been cooking a bunch as well, and we've just been like just generally eating a lot better and managing to get some exercise in, so that's good. Unfortunately, I don't have the 150K little bonus on the side. I just have, a healthier life, but hopefully it's enough.
If you ever want to do like a weight loss prop bet, I'd be in for it. We can.
You'd be in for figuring out.
We can cross book it, me versus you, and then if we both like get less fat, we like call it a shop.
Okay. Potentially.
I've been doing a lot better lately. I like did a lot of working out earlier this year.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get my diet a little more on point too. I managed to lose like 10, 15 pounds or whatever, but obviously
you shedded the streaming weight.
Yeah, dude, it's straight up the streaming weight. It really is.
The streamer 25, they call it.
Do they? Is that a thing?
No.
Like, so like when you just take the streaming out, like videos and streaming are totally different animals. They're totally different animals.
Yeah.
Like when I make a video, normally like the way that it works is like I have a call with Seriously Serious, my editor. We'll talk about a concept, and then we'll like discuss it for an hour or two. I'll like record. I'll record for an hour or two. Send him the files. We're done. It's in his hand. It's in his hands. I hope he makes me look good, but it's out of my hands now. But like with streaming, you're just like committed, man. Like when you fire up tournaments, if you go deep in something, no matter which one it is, whether it's your smallest or your highest stakes tournament, if you go deep in something, you are committed. You're like,
it's streaming tournaments is hard, and especially coming from like a sit and go background for like 4.5, 5 years, like back, like sit and go, the same thing as cash games, right? Like if you're playing hypers, like I can end my session in like 17 or 18 minutes or something like that. So just like finish registering, take a break, eat something, and then come back and play another few hours. Tournaments isn't like that. You fire up tournaments, you reg for like 4 hours, and you're almost guaranteed to play for at least 6 to 7 hours, all the way up to like whatever, like 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours. So yeah, it's like definitely tougher playing like a tournament schedule and streaming it.
Well, what's it like for you on those like the 10th hour, the 12th hour? Like how do you still play well and also like manage the chat? And you also brought up earlier, being entertaining, because I think one of the reasons why you've been so successful on Twitch is because like you're a funny dude. Like you troll a lot, you like joke around a lot, you're like in it for the lulz, you you. I mean, you're slow rolling Jamie Staples. Shout out to Jamie Staples in the chat.
Yeah, dude, that was a good one.
Do you find you can be as entertaining though when you're that deep in it?
I mean, it just depends on the day. It depends on the tournament. Like, obviously, if it's like the low end of your buy-in range, it's going to be pretty hard to be like super excited or whatever. But I mean, obviously, if you have a tournament with like, 40, 50 grand, all the way up like 100 grand up top in it, like it's pretty easy to be like still excited even after like 9 or 10 hours. I feel like for me, I mean, not for people who maybe lose $1 million to Isildur, but like for me, like I'm gonna be getting excited about a 50K score still at this point. Not overly excited, so yeah, I mean,
the right amount of excited.
Just the perfect amount of excited. But yeah, no, I don't know. I was saying this. I think I talked to you about this because it kind of sucks. So like at the beginning of the stream, I'm like so full of energy. For like the first like 2 hours, I'm like bouncing up and down. I'm fucking singing along. I'm having a great time. And then like your energy starts to like drop off after like 4, 5, 6 hours. I feel like, and that's when you really start to get tired. But like that's when like you've accumulated a bunch of viewers. So like you want to be more upbeat at that time. But it's hard. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you'll just be tired after like 10 hours. I feel like for me, it depends on like what I'm deep in. And like if I have a big stack, then like I can play lots of pots. If you have like a 20 big blind stack deep and you're just sitting there folding, like more or less like waiting like for good spots or good hands, like it's a lot more boring, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I also think if it's your lowest stakes tournament, it's got to be It's
so hard. Yeah, like one tabling a tournament with like 4 or 5K left at the end of the day it can be hard after a rough day.
But you still got to put in the smile. You got to tell some jokes. You got to troll some people.
Yeah. And yeah, have a glass of wine, troll some of the chat. You can get through it. Saying it like it's a death sentence. You can get through it, man. You just gotta try.
Keep your chin up. Oh, by the way, also, guys, if you have not
first world problems here.
Yeah, seriously. If you guys have not checked it out, Tonka also has a YouTube channel. We'll put the link in the description after the pod. It's a lot of stream highlights, some session review stuff as well. What's your general content like on YouTube? So if people want to come check you out, like what can they expect to find there?
We vary, but we mostly do, like you said, primarily stream highlights. We cut them up in a fun way, highlight all the big hands, big losses, whatnot. And then, yeah, I did some like hand history reviews, just like of some big tournaments I've won and stuff. We did some like sit and go content where I was just like, basically talking over hands while playing like 6 max hyper turbos and some 6 max turbos and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's highlights and, final table runs, big wins and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, again, we'll put the link in the description below. But it's Team Never Lucky here on YouTube, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So actually, let's talk about Team Never Lucky for a moment here, because
sure.
Obviously, like Carver has its Team Run It Up, you have Team Never Lucky. So can you tell us a little bit like what was like why that name? Like when did you start Team Never Lucky? Like what are you trying to do with it?
Not really trying to do much with it right now. Team Never Lucky sort of like functions like I feel like the same way like Jason's team like Run It Up does. It's just like like the team of people who are like hanging out, like who are subbed. Just like anyone in the chat just hanging out, really like it's not really like a direction. Like I'm not planning on like adding like a big team of like poker players or something like that. I mean, maybe down the line, but that's not like something that I'm looking to do right now. And it was just like I was pretty hard pressed to find like something I wanted to come up with that wasn't like Parker Talbot Poker or something like that. Not to shit on Doug Polk Poker.
I'm right here.
But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't want to go with like the generic name. So. And like a friend of mine was just like, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to come up with a name. He's just like, what about Never Lucky? He's like, you say that like 10 times a day already. Because like people say that in like Hearthstone and in like the gaming world as well. And I think I just like adopted it through that. Just like lose a flip and just be like, fucking Never Lucky, man.
See, I don't know what that's like. I couldn't say.
Yeah, I mean, of course. It's like what I said before, people giving you shit about flopping sets. And like I said, people can't even do that to me because you have to flop a set in order for people to give you shit for it.
Right. That makes sense.
Because we're never lucky to get it.
So let's talk about Twitch for a minute, okay? Because I've kind of been out of the Twitch game. I felt like it was a bit too rat racy for me. I mean, it's a competitive environment, and
Yeah,
and like I feel like when I look at like the Twitch viewership and stuff, I think that Carver is still number one in terms of viewership, And
Yeah.
then you're definitely number 2. It's like not very close if you look at just average viewership and stuff. So how has your growth been? Do you feel like when Carver isn't streaming, it's better for you? Do you feel like one day maybe you could actually get to the same place Carver's at? Can you talk about that aspect a bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think that Carver's definitely still number one, just because like Carver's like the only person that can just like come in and within like no matter what he plays, whether he plays like some 5-10 mixed game or like a $7 home game, like he's gonna get like 5K viewers, like no problem, no matter who else is in the directory, you know. But yeah, I have been taking, as for like growth and whatnot, I took off like a month and a half, I guess, around like the World Series time. It's like definitely the longest break I've taken in like the 19 months that I've been streaming. So I can't really talk to like the growth like as of late, but yeah, I mean, I had like a good like 2-3 week period there where I was for the most part like the only big streamer, like everybody else was gone, and was just like averaging like over 5K viewers a day, and if you make like a final table, like upwards of 10K. So that was like pretty huge time.
That's
Like
sick.
you said, I think it's like it's like super rat racy. Like it just depends on who's around, you know. Like if all of like the big streamers are competing, then I feel like everybody's numbers just suffer, you know. Obviously the top spot will still get some more, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
the top
no,
spot
go
is just
ahead.
so important.
On Twitch, yeah, it's crazy. Because and like I think we've talked about this before. I was just like, I know that from firsthand, because if I go into like some random game that I'm playing on the side, like I think I played like The Witcher like a year and a half ago or something, and like I wanted to watch a bit of The Witcher, so I opened up The Witcher, and like obviously I just clicked on the one with the most people. I didn't go to like the fourth one and be like, oh, this guy's probably good. You know, you just click on whoever has the most people watching.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's like that in anything. You want to see like what the commotion's going on, you know?
Mhm.
If everyone's watching one person, you want to know what they're doing. Also, we got some people talking about Lex Veldhouse as well. Um, Lex has been growing a lot lately. You look at the numbers; they're definitely increasing. But just like statistically here, Parker has got better numbers. But I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
well, Lex does like the Carver strategy basically, but he does it like 12 months a year at the moment. Like he plays like 6 days a week, like 5 to 6 days a week. I think he's doing Monday to Friday, but now he's been playing Sunday sessions, and he plays like he just plays like 12 hours a day.
I mean, like
I don't know, like, and there's like, and like he definitely has like bigger numbers than me right now, and he's always getting on before me. So any day that we're competing, he has like a huge advantage. But yeah, he's just like crushing poker, and like I will not be able to compete with somebody who streams 10 hours plus a day, because like I can't do that.
well, that's the
12
thing.
months
Like
a year, yeah, 12
that's the
months a
thing.
year.
Sorry not to cut you off. That's the
No, no,
thing.
no.
Like we've talked about this too. Like a lot of Twitch, not all of it, but a lot is volume.
It's
And
consistency and volume, yeah.
if someone can wake up every day and know that you're online streaming, you're gonna build faster because they
Dude,
just always go there. They make it part of their day. They make it part of like what they do every day, and like that consistency builds. That's one of the things why I think for Carver, when like Carver's been kind of MIA for the last like couple of months. I think he originally said he was going to the World Series. He didn't. Um, I know he did a Run It Up Reno event like a couple months ago or whatever, but when he takes like a few months off and then comes back and then goes super hard when he comes back, I kind of wonder like if that's going to work out for him in terms of like, continuing to build that audience. He has the biggest audience, but
yeah, I
if you
think it
look at the
doesn't really
growth,
matter for him at this point, just because he has like just too big of an audience. You know, he got like so much. He got like a ton of promotion as well from Twitch in like the early days, and he just built like. I mean, he has like 160,000 followers, or maybe more, like 180 or 200,000 followers on
yeah, it's
Twitch,
like
and that's just
210, I
like
think.
210. Yeah, I mean, I have like 60. I would imagine you have probably around like 180 to 100 or something like that. No,
We have like the same exact
you have
amount
the same.
basically.
Okay, but yeah, like I mean, he just has too many more, and I think follower numbers aren't super important for like your immediate like amount of people, but like the most you can reach, right? So like if you have a final table, you're gonna have more viewers than the guy with like 25,000 followers, because if it pops up on like your follow feed that so and so has 10,000 followers or 10,000 watchers right now, you're gonna know something's up, so you're gonna tune in.
Yeah, it's funny. When I started streaming, I thought followers didn't matter at all, and then like as I like learned more and more about the platform, I was like, oh man, followers are really important because like
Yeah,
you can see, like they'll see you're online. A lot of them will see when you go live, and then it allows you to potentially reach more people. And that's kind of been the thing about Carver's audience since the start has been like when Carver streams, people show up, that are otherwise never in the
Never
directory.
in the poker listing. Yeah, it's a crazy thing, man. I mean, it's probably like a year into me streaming or something. I was like watching Carver, and I think I like resubbed to him, or someone was like, or he mentioned me on the stream or something, and like, just like half his chat like didn't know who I was, and just like nobody like was just like, there's so many people in their chat that just like don't know any other like poker streamers because they're just like there in poker for Carver. It's sick.
I think a lot of it is the promotion and building an audience when, like when it started,
like,
when Twitch
no one
poker
else
got
was
going.
doing it. Yeah, like you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, when Twitch poker got going, like the two big streamers were definitely Carver and Jamie Stables. Again, shout out to Jamie Stables in the chat. And like, I think that like the amount of front page time that really Carver managed to get there, let him build that lead. And like, so ultimately, like the reason why I left Twitch, I still will every now and then throw something together, but the reason I left was I just felt like I was never really going to overcome that. And like when Carver is going hard, it's really tough, dude.
It's difficult. It's a difficult time. You have to base your. I mean, for a while it was like fine. It was totally fine for me, and I didn't really mind because he starts really late. So he was starting at like 5 p.m. and I play at like 1 p.m. So like I'd already be playing for 4 hours, so it wouldn't be like that awful, But like if we start at the same time every single day, it'd be rough.
Yeah, definitely. There was a point where it was me, you, and Carver all streaming at the same time, and it was just like,
it's rough, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be like have all the viewers, and the other two people are gonna be just like mellowing out.
I'm really interested to see where YouTube goes because, obviously in the last like couple of years, everyone's trying to fight for live content. That's just like everyone's trying to do now. The longer you can keep people on a platform, the more money it's worth. The more money it's worth, the more money they make, the more they can like make money for creators and stuff. So everyone's fighting for that. My main problem with YouTube though is YouTube. I think that poker is kind of like a gray area on YouTube, and so they're not like committed to promoting it like with Twitch.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're like trying to keep it.
I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've ever debated like jumping. I mean, I'm still not sure if it's the right move or not, but I'm not going to stream a lot, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. And I definitely want to do more to try and build on YouTube. But I think it can only be a good thing for content creators when there's competition, because the more sites you can stream on and actually build an audience and grow, the more options that you have, the better it is for the people that are streaming.
For sure.
All right, so let's talk about a couple other subjects here. Let's talk about another shout at Jamie Stables. Let's talk about slow rolling. So, how many people would you slow roll? Like how many?
A reasonable chunk of people.
Okay.
I mean, I'd slow roll you.
Nice.
I can tell you that much.
Nice. Good to know.
No, I don't know. I'd probably slow roll like 30 to 40 people. Maybe less. Maybe like not that many. But like I'd slow roll like anybody that I'm friendly with. Or like another high stakes reg. Maybe. Even one that would like maybe get mad at it. That would be funny.
So you have to it's polarized. They have to be your friend or you have to dislike them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're just like kind of know somebody, then like whatevs.
Yeah, but like met like somebody like one time or something like that, and like we're like friendly enough. Like I wouldn't slow roll them. Like I'm like a little bit friendly with like all the Swedes, like some of the high stakes MTT players. They're like one of them like hooked me up with some snooze from Vegas and stuff. Like I wouldn't slow roll like Robbie here, like I wouldn't slow roll him.
Yeah.
But like I'd slow roll one of my friends for sure. And Connor, like one of my really good friends in poker, like savagely slow rolled me in the 6-max sit and go. Where like I like 3-bet jammed or something on him on like a bubble, and I had kings and he managed to have aces, like a ridiculous setup. Like
my god.
Or maybe I had 10s or something, or ace king. I don't know, but I had a really good hand as well, and he just had aces and just slow rolled me. But yeah, they're good times. And we had that one versus Jamie, where he was just like so sure that he was winning with his kings, and I just slow rolled him with aces. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I shared that on Facebook. That's a great clip.
It's a really good clip.
I also love the like from Jamie's perspective in there too.
Yeah, he just got it. Like,
by the way, in the chat here, doesn't feel good, does it? Let's talk about the Jamie Staples weight loss bet for a second here. So
sure.
I've been sweating some of the vlogs, and I haven't seen like the most recent like week or two, but
Wait, did you bet against?
I bet against, yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling about that?
I don't feel as good as I did 3 or 4 months
as
ago.
Dan is, when you started the bet, I mean, they're crushing it so far, right?
Yeah, no, they're doing a fantastic job. So well, a few reasons that I bet against. First out, I got like way better odds than like the opening line or whatever.
Okay.
And so I got like 8 or 9 to 1, like average between my bets or whatever. I don't I actually forgot how much I'm betting, like 60 or 70 or 80,000 or something. I don't remember the
You're
exact
betting
amount.
that much?
Well, yeah, I mean it's to win I don't know,
Oh yeah, of course.
9K
Like
or
not,
something.
yeah,
Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
you have to lay odds.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course. You're betting against.
you thought I
No, no,
had
no,
the
no, 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 no. I knew you were betting against, but for some reason in my pea brain that like hasn't done much gambling, I didn't realize that you'd be putting up. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So I got like a pretty hefty bet. What I feel good about is that I think that like the last.
The final stages is like the weirdest thing still is they have to be within a 1 pound on like a certain time slot, like even if they do make it there and they are at the exact same weight, they still have to get that perfect. And like I know like they should be able to do it, but still like you could just fuck that up and then you lose the bet even though you made it.
Yeah, I mean, like they're definitely farther along at this point than I thought that they would be. But again, like as far as weight loss goes, it's easier at first, and then it's gonna get harder.
Yeah, so I had
So
some talks with people about this, and like some other people were saying that like no, like once you obviously like you actually the shedding of the weight is significantly easier at the beginning, but like breaking habits and getting into a good routine and actually overcoming like the first hurdle could potentially be like harder. And then once you get past that, you're more motivated. But yeah, obviously from like and actually like how easy it is physically to lose the weight, it's significantly easier at the start.
yeah. In terms of just like lowering your body fat percentage, it does get more difficult. I see what you're saying about getting into the schedule, getting into the diet, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they still have like how many months in? Are they 4 or 5? 4?
Like 4 or 5 months in, like 4.5 months in, I think.
Okay, so 4.5 months in, I think that they're like just about halfway. So they're
Yeah, a
definitely
little
ahead.
over halfway, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so they're definitely ahead of pace, but still second half should be harder, and then like the shenanigans that have to go down on weigh-in day to like weigh in within 1 pound. I mean, like, I like if they weigh in and it's like 1.4 pounds, it's
They're
like
gonna
you
be
still lose,
they're gonna be sweating up a storm on that day, or
I
one of
think,
them is at
dude,
least.
I'm gonna be sweating up a storm on that day.
Hopefully, dude. I'm hoping that they do it. I'm hoping that like that would be. Sorry to root against you, but I gotta root for the boys.
Dude, I told Jamie, I told him when he started, I said I was rooting for him, and at first I wasn't gonna bet against him, but then the line moved like so much. At some point,
You
I
just
was
got
like,
too good of a price.
also like he got me in because like he was making a protein shake, and like I like looked up on my own the nutrition in that shake, and it had like a ton of sugar. And
And you were like, "Oh my
dude,
goodness!"
I'm sure Jamie I'm sure Jamie can confirm. Like I messaged him like, dude, like that's a massive dog play to have like 15 grams of sugar or whatever or 10 grams or whatever. It was needless. It was a needlessly large amount of grams of sugar, per
Okay.
shake in the protein powder. And then I was like, all right, man, like the line's like 8 or 9 to 1, and like you're drinking sugar. I'm gonna have to bet against. but I mean, luckily, like I bet him. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would suck to lose that amount of money, but like it's not enough money to where like I'm really sweating it.
No, it's not gonna hurt you. Yeah.
Also, it's a bit different. Like I lost a similar amount of money on the Super Bowl earlier this year.
Okay.
But
That
that was
feels
like
better.
in ultimate devastation fashion. Like I had Atlanta.
I remember watching that. We were in King's Casino. It was like fucking 6 a.m. or something. Yeah. That was the craziest comeback ever.
It was
Or
unbelievably devastating for me,
yeah.
man. I remember looking at it, and like when they lined up for that 2-point conversion, I was playing Super Bowl squares, like 1K a square or something, or 5. I forget what it was, but it was like 30-ish K for the win or something like that. And I had the square if they bricked the 2-point conversion, and then I also had Atlanta plus 2.5. I had Atlanta at just to win, and then like I got one high stakes poker buddy, and like we do some occasional gambling, and like he's like, all right, here are all the props that I want to bet, and one of them was like against overtime, and I was like, all right, whatever, vig free against overtime, sure, I'm like mainly gonna whatever, and so like they lined up for the 2, and I'm looking at like the difference here between winning and losing, like how much actual money that it is, like for me. And I'm like adding it all up, and I'm like, okay, so like if they hold here, I think I win like 60 or 70K. I forget the exact number, but it was a lot of money. And then I looked at like if it goes into OT and I lose, and it was like I would lose like 50K. So we're talking like a 120K ish swing or something.
It's a very reasonable swing.
And I stood up, and I remember like Caitlin was in the room just like watching me just be like a crazy person. And I'm like, hold, just like, and then like they hike, and like Edelman or whatever just like barely gets into the end zone. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going in overtime. And then they just like snap like devastation in overtime. And I remember walking away, and like I was like, man, I don't know, because I don't normally bet that big on sports. It's just like it's the Super Bowl. Things have been going well lately, whatever. And I was like, whatever, I'll just like gamble a bunch of Super Bowl just like one time a year. And just from going from just like I am going to win this, like it is a sure thing. It is
It's a
over.
lock. It's basically a lock, yeah.
It is. It's. I mean, it basically was a lock. Yeah.
Yeah.
To like the devastating fashion that it went down, and having to slowly watch the train wreck, just like or the
Dude,
train like
unfold
fall
in
off the
front of
tracks.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
that reminds me of like I don't think you follow like hockey, but I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, the Leafs. I don't even know if anybody follows like hockey or Toronto sports. That's what I'm talking about. But the Leafs were down 3-0 to Boston in the series, and they came back and tied it up, and then had a 4-1 lead going into the third period and lost it in overtime.
Oh
And
my
like
God.
double or triple overtime. It was like, and I was living in Amsterdam at the time as well, so it was like 6 a.m., 6 or 7 a.m. when like the game ended, and it was just like the saddest finish ever. It was really, really bad.
Are you a Leafs fan?
Yeah, I'm like Toronto everything fan. I'm
Dude,
like
if
not
you're
like
if you're a Toronto fan, you have to love pain.
yeah, it's unbelievable. Like we haven't had like a win in anything in like 18 million years or something.
Is
It's
that
rough.
actual? That's the fact? 18 million?
18 million is roughly the last time. No, the Jays won back to back like in the early 90s, but I think I was like 2 years old. So
At least you're not. I think the worst sports city has to be Philadelphia, right? I mean, they got to be like everything Philadelphia does sucks. I think the Flyers are the only thing that's like that have been okay in like years. Didn't they
yeah,
win one like 5, 10? I don't follow hockey that much.
I can't remember, but I think they did like 10 years within the last 10 years or something. Honestly, I don't really follow. I don't really follow any sport much. I follow basketball a little bit these days. I follow basketball like reasonably closely, but yeah, I mean, even when I used to be like the hardcore Leafs fan, I was like 14 years old, so I wasn't like crazy into following it and stats and everything then.
I see it like on like Instagram and whenever you post stuff, you go to a lot of games, right?
Yeah, I have season tickets for the Raptors, or I did last year. I'm gonna have like half of a season ticket this year, so I'll still go to a bunch of games. But I travel too much to go to like all of the games, so I was just like losing a heap of value last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, like I follow basketball, but I don't really follow hockey as much anymore.
We're getting a hockey team,
Yeah,
Vegas.
you are. And it's actually time. It's time for me to hop back on the Leafs bandwagon because they're gonna be good the next few years.
Oh, that's how it works. You just like hop on whenever team's good.
No, I'm just saying it is a good time if I were to, but I honestly probably won't anyways.
And the thing about
I'll
hockey,
watch more games for sure.
think about hockey for me, I feel like watching it on TV is kind of boring, but going to a game is awesome.
Being at a game is awesome.
I remember the first time that when I was in Vancouver, I brought like a bunch of like the heads up guys, Jason Les, Donger Kim, all these guys to a game, right? And it was like if you could bring someone to like an awesome game, it was like that game. Like basically it was like, obviously a fight, and like they're just like beating the shit out of each other, and then like back and forth, tie, goes into overtime period ends in a tie, shootout at the end, like back and forth. And I remember we were leaving, and Dong's like, hockey's awesome. I'm like, slow down.
Yeah.
This is not how it normally goes down.
Yeah, we took a friend of ours, this Irish girl that came to visit Toronto. She went to like a basketball game, and it was like an overtime game where like the Raps won with like a buzzer beater. And it was like the craziest atmosphere, like in like a regular season game, like all year or whatever. And she was just like, man, basketball's awesome. Like, I definitely want to go again. And my other buddy was like, don't go again. She was like, it will be ruined for you if you go again. It will never be like that again.
You know what I like though about basketball and hockey compared to like football? I mean, I'll still go to football games. I just love football. The thing is, like, the arena size, like the stadium in football is so big. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of hard to see
massive.
exactly what's going on. But in basketball and hockey, if you have like a good central seat, you can like it's like honestly it's like a better vantage point. Well, maybe not better, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's it's crazy the amount of downtime in football as well. I feel like that's probably one of the big reasons that I don't like it too much. It's like so much downtime.
Yeah, there is. And I think for football, have you ever watched Red Zone?
Yeah, so Red Zone was fucking awesome. So I joined like a fantasy football team league, like when I had absolutely nothing about football, but wanted to get a little bit more into it or whatever, like 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe it was like only like 2 years ago, and got Red Zone, and it was really cool. But watching like an actual game of football is just I can't do. It's
Yeah,
just super boring.
yeah. Red Zone is like so. What I normally do on Sundays, I like flip for sides with JMO on like all the games, and then like I just like spend 7 hours sweating it on the couch with just like money hanging on everything. And like a lot of years we've done like season bets and stuff too on different teams.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one year, and it was back when like I forgot how much JMO was slated to lose, but it was like a few years ago. And I think I had the Texans to make the playoffs for like 30K or something. And like it
You guys
came
are
down
such
to the
thieves, man.
final
It's great.
Sunday. And like the
Uh-huh.
stakes were like this is back when like we weren't there was a lot less balling going on here. It was like it was
Okay.
it was a sizable bet. And I remember being like going into that weekend, I was like, man, please make the playoffs. All they have to do is like win, and like I think maybe someone else had to lose or something. It needed like that combo.
Yeah.
And if that had happened, JMO was living with me at the time. I had already planned on while he was like out doing something, I was gonna change everything in his bedroom to Texans gear, Texans blanket, Texans photo, Texans pillow, really
Did
little
you buy
set.
all this shit in advance? Surely not. Like
No. And
you
then
were
they
gonna go out
lost.
and buy it. They
Yeah.
lost.
But man, he was like right down to the end. I like that. And you know what the thing is too for football? I know how in sports people have teams. And like I kind of have teams. Like I grew up in Southern California. I went to a lot of Padres games with my dad. At least in baseball, I guess I always root for the Padres. They always suck. So that's consistent. But
Mhm.
I've always been like kind of like a Southern California sports fan in general. But the thing about football is I just love like the strategy in it because like I feel like there's so much high level strategy going on between like the coaches and the players and that combined with just like how physically challenging the sport is, I just really enjoy watching that. But like yeah, you're right. Like the constant TV breaks or commercial breaks and stuff, it can be unbearable if you're just watching one game.
I feel like stuff like this as well just has like I don't know for me at least that's like such a crazy um correlation to like what you watch growing up and like what you're introduced to, because like if you grew up watching football, like you're gonna watch football. Like if your dad is super into it and Sundays are for football and everything like that, like you're just gonna watch football forever. And for me, it was hockey. Like we watched like every single hockey game. Um, but yeah,
Well, I mean, overall, like going to hockey games is a lot of fun, and like I like hockey a lot more than soccer. But in these games where it's just like really low scoring games, I mean, like, and there's so many people in the chat like gonna call me a stupid American or whatever. I get it, but like, I know positioning is happening and stuff. Like, I get that, but I just
that just to clarify though, like like in like hockey and in soccer, like it's like only worth one point for a goal, and
right.
in
So it's pretty
football it's like
important.
6, right? So like that's why
Yeah,
the scoring's higher.
yeah, exactly. Well, I don't mean the amount. I mean the amount of scoring is still
Yeah, I know what you mean. Stupid American, there they all are.
classic stupid American. No, it's all right.
But
I'll
yeah, no,
take
I
it.
feel that. I mean, like a draw in soccer is just like the most boring shit ever, especially when like there's like so many teams that have like different play styles that are just like defensive or whatever. So if you get 2 of those, it's just like miserable.
Shouldn't be allowed, IMO.
Yeah,
All
should
right,
have to be.
so
Go ahead.
let's go ahead here and let's make this announcement because I think the good people of YouTube have been waiting long enough. And our announcement is the newest upswing poker coach for the lab, Tonka,
Hello.
joining
Looking
us.
forward to it, man. It's gonna be good.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
We're putting up your first Play and Explain today in the lab.
Awesome. Yeah, Ryan and I went through that. It's a big 109 win. Super good. So should be good, man. I'm like really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be exciting. We definitely want to bring someone like a tournament like expert into the lab. Chat going like absolutely ballistic right now. But we wanted to bring like a tournament expert in and felt like you'd be a good fit. You know, I've gotten to work with you and like talk with you a bunch. You're a smart dude and you're a good poker player. So happy to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, man. It should be good. I'm looking forward to making more videos. Obviously, you know, making some modules, hanging out in the Facebook group for sure. But yeah, I think it should be a really good fit. And like you said, you know, you guys don't really have any tournament content on there, so it should be lots to fill.
Yeah, we got a little bit. I've done like a couple, like I did a W Coop run that I had.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy for you as well. You'd have like 6 or 7 tournaments. So you just like, oh yeah, you play this tournament, guys, then you win it. Super easy.
It's kind of ridiculous, like how hot I've run in tournaments. You know, and I mean, there's like I'd like to say a good chunk of skill in there too, I hope. But like every time I go up to Vancouver, it's like, okay, now we're going to talk about this other tournament win.
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I was saying that, I said that on my stream the other day, actually, how I was like, when I talked to you, I was like, oh yeah, you know, like been losing for a few months. You're just like, well, have you considered just winning the tournaments that you play instead of losing them? I was like, so that's what you do.
Yeah, I had a World Series of Poker floor director tell me that this summer. He's like, Doug, I got a little piece of advice for you in the next tournament you play. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, so just do this. Okay, it's only one thing you gotta do. Never lose all your chips.
Never. That's a good strategy.
For
a while, for a while, my strategy was just to make the next break. Because if you make the next break, then you can never lose.
That's a good point. Another good point. Yeah, and I was like, so you're a floor director, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, all these strategies of making the next break will be in the lab soon.
Making the next break. Oh man, I'm really glad we hired you.
Yeah, we're gonna have a really in-depth.
Guys, you're gonna be constantly making the next break.
Never play a big pot right before the break ends. That's rule number 1.
Rule number 1. Well, it's good having the team, dude. I'm glad we get to work together. I feel like for a little bit, like when we were both like firing on Twitch, we were like kind of competing.
Yeah, I mean that's like the Twitch market, right? Like that's how we were talking about how like important that top spot is and stuff, and how you are just competing super hard. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely were for a while. But it's gonna be good to work together, for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we got a couple other topics here we're going to talk about, and then we're going to call it a sesh. I had a question here, and I don't know how much you enjoy your poutine.
Poutine?
But what awesome.
Someone was saying it was overrated or something.
Is poutine overrated?
No, poutine's not overrated. It's like delicious fries with cheese curds and then gravy. It's like the best thing you can eat, and you can buy like all sorts of fancy ones with meats and stuff. But, you know, with the healthy living, there's no more poutines.
I was going to troll you, but you worked it in.
But I got there.
I was like, oh, man,
actually, the place at Brunch has these pad thai fries, they're called. And they're just like these super spicy, like unbelievably amazing fries. But, yeah, I couldn't have any. It was sad times.
Brutal. And what's your alcoholic beverage of choice?
I mean, I'm pretty easy, to be honest. I'll drink most things, but I do enjoy a good scotch. I know you do as well. I know you do as well. But like on like that's like a home drink, you know, like if I'm gonna have like a nice scotch at home, but like on like a night out, just like a beer or a gin tonic, you know.
Gin and tonic, dude.
I love a good gin tonic.
It's like it tastes bad and it's unhealthy. It's the worst of both worlds.
It's really unhealthy. Yeah, I mean, so I've ruined gin tonics for my friend. I was like, you know, like he was like, just have a gin tonic. That's healthy. I was like, you know, tonic water is like incredibly sweet, has like infinite sugar in it. He's like, no, it's not. He's like, I've been drinking gin tonics for like 6 years. He's like, no, it's not. And I was like, dude, look at how much sugar's in tonic water. And I ruined gin tonics for him. He doesn't like them anymore.
Everyone thinks that because they think your options are soda or tonic.
Or tonic, yeah, because they relate these two to the same thing. But tonic water is actually crazy sweet. Like if you start to taste it.
Yeah, tonic is it's just you're drinking sugar water, whatever you want to call it. That's all it is. It's like it's like 30 grams per serving of sugar.
It's unbelievable, yeah, and it doesn't taste very good either. But a good gin and tonic though, with like all of the fixtures, is nice. Like a black pepper gin and tonic or something. You got to try that.
I don't like gin. I don't like tonic. I'm trying to imagine if putting them together would make it better, but I'm having a hard time seeing it. Okay, so here's my battle. I love beer. I
Yeah,
love beer.
beer's good. And you can just
It's
drink beer for like ever as well, you know?
dude, I'm right there with you. I don't have a sweet tooth. I'm not really into like chocolates or desserts or any of that stuff. But like, if you give me like beer, I will drink all of it,
Mhm.
all of the beer, and like it's just so unhealthy for you. It
It's really
this is like
bad. It's really bad, yeah.
this
And
is
if you
maybe
get
like
like if you tried like a Michelob Ultra,
oh God, man.
they're not great.
You know what? Honestly, the other day I was thinking about this. I'm like, you know what they should do? They should have beer, but like some kind of like lighter version of it. And then I was like,
They call
wait,
me wait, Bud Light.
Bud Light. And I drank a Bud Light, and I was like, ah, it's like
It's
like
not.
a good Hefeweizen. And shout out to Germany. I'm sure I butchered that, but I tried. A good
Definitely butchered
Hefeweizen.
that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. A nice like wheat beer.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what you're
so
looking
good.
for. Some German or Belgian beer or something like that. That's what you're
Oh
really
yeah,
looking
dude.
for.
The Trappist beers, like oh, so good,
Hmm. Now I want a
so good.
beer. This isn't. Let's move on from this topic because now I want a beer.
Oh, all right. Let's go big picture. Let's go pretty meta. Let's talk about the future of poker entertainment. You know, in the last like year or two, we've seen really the development of like, you know, YouTube and Twitch on like a much bigger scale. I think we saw Twitch kind of like come out of the gate pretty hot like 2 or 3 years ago. And the last year we've seen like a lot of YouTube surge as well.
Yeah,
Where
well,
do
I
you
mean, you have a big part to hand in that, right?
Oh, I'd like to think so, but not
For
just
sure.
me. You know, like I think Andrew Nemi did a bunch too
Yeah,
to grow. I think Andrew Nemi kind of pioneered like a content type. You know, there were maybe some vlogs
your
before.
your good buddy D Negs had a lot as well.
My good buddy D Eggs, of course, glad to be on the team with him now.
Yeah,
Yeah, he also, dude. You know what? Like I'm gonna give D Eggs props here. Like this summer, he did a vlog every
he put a
day.
sick grind in. Yeah, that was a sick grind.
That's a sick grind. I mean, like wouldn't have said some of the things he did say, and it got a little preachy at times in some of the vlogs, but just in like terms of like work ethic, like that's actually like really impressive when I think people that already have a lot of money and are still like grinding hard because they wanted to do something. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean obviously he's been in the game. I really do believe Nemi pioneered the whole
well,
vlog
like the whole
thing.
live poker vlog. Yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
after
Like
him, I mean,
I only talked to him for a few minutes as well, but he seemed like a crazy nice dude.
yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. Yeah, yeah. No, he didn't stop. Did he stop by the upswing party? I forgot. I think he did, right?
Yeah. He was at the upswing party for a bit. That's where I talked to him.
Okay, cool, nice. Yeah, but like if you look at it, I mean, okay, I'm gonna give it some props here because I know that there's at least 10 people that are like, dude, Trooper. Okay, Trooper was vlogging poker way before Nemi, but like he didn't really make it big. You know, Nemi made it big, and part of that is because like I don't know if you've watched many of his vlogs. I've watched a few of them. They're really high quality. You know,
Yeah,
there's like drone shots, good music, solid editing. Like they're like seriously good vlogs. And I
he
think
does it
that like
all himself, right?
he does it all himself, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's nuts. If
Yeah,
I had to do my editing, I would have like no videos.
yeah. I mean, how do you find the time? Like, it takes like hours to like solidly edit. Like, I can't imagine how long it takes. Like 4 or 5 hours for like most of them. I would feel like for a lot of them sometimes.
Yeah, I do think the vlog lifestyle though is a lot different than like the streamer lifestyle.
That's true. That's true. It's way less cutting. Yeah.
Because like you like 3, 4, 5 times a week you wake up and you're like, all right, I gotta press play in an hour and a half, and then I'm locked in. You know, whereas I think
Yeah.
for vlogs it's more like idea stage and then like
Learn as you go.
execution
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
editing. But yeah, even besides those people, we see some other like let me think who I mean, gotta give shout to Jamie Staples for like the fifth time in this podcast. We gotta give him a shout out to he's got like one of the bigger YouTube channels in poker too, like third or fourth biggest, I think. And we've definitely seen a lot of like the like stream highlight channels become popular too. There are a few other guys that do that format as well. But yeah, I mean, like poker space has been growing in YouTube for sure, and Twitch to some extent as well. Where do you think like the future is like of poker content? Do you think it's going to continue to be more Twitch and YouTube and less like traditional TV? Do you think that like it's kind of peaking? Do you think that there's still a lot of room to grow? What are your thoughts?
I think there's definitely still a lot of room to grow, and I think like we probably will see growth as like more people come up. I don't know. The thing is about like content creation and poker and stuff is it's like relatively hard to get like somebody good to high stakes that like wants to do it and do it right, you know, like because to really be like relevant and to put out content and get like a reasonable following, like consistency again is just like so important, and like you really have to do it. You can't really do it like part-time or something like that. So I feel like it's kind of hard for like it to grow on like a massive scale where there's like heaps of people doing it. But I definitely think that what everybody's doing now is just still going to get more traction for the poker game or poker content as a whole. And that, yeah, I mean, that more people are going to come along for sure. I mean, I'm sure some will find somebody that comes up in streaming or in making videos on YouTube in the next year, right? Like there's got to be at least like one or two more that get introduced to it.
I think the tough thing is in the streaming space. I do think that we're going to see some people like become bigger streamers. I mean, Lex is doing everything right to become like the biggest poker streamer down the road. I mean,
definitely.
I don't know like if that's possible given like some of the constraints of the platform, but and then on YouTube, the great thing about YouTube that I think, like unlike with Twitch, if you're just like, unless you can play high stakes on Twitch, where that's just an instant edge. Like,
yeah, well, that's what I meant by like somebody coming up, like somebody new, like that's gonna play like high stakes,
yeah.
Because I don't really think it's not really an environment where you can make it like not doing that.
Yeah, no, like on YouTube, I think you could be anyone, and if you just make good videos, you make funny videos, you find a new area within poker, or you do like vlogs or news or hand analysis or whatever. You find something that's a popular format and you do it really well. I don't really think it matters like how high stakes you play and stuff. Like Nime is like he's a solid reg, but he plays like 5-10. He's not like a high stakes reg or anything.
Yeah.
But in the Twitch landscape, at the end of the day, and this is something that has helped me. I mean, this has probably been one of the biggest advantages that I had when I was streaming. I could just like outspend people. Like
you can play literally whatever you want. So, I mean, like we talked about, people like to see like the tournaments more, but still, like people love to see like the high stakes cash and shit, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I can play like a 25K and have like most or all myself or whatever, and then if I just like brick off twice and lose 50K or whatever, then like whatever, it's like bad Tuesday, or like whatever's going on. So and like the thing is, I know when I do that like if someone's in the directory and they see like a $100 tournament or a $25,000 tournament, you're gonna win. You're always gonna win. So
they're gonna head to the 25K.
I think for people to succeed on Twitch, I think that it needs to be players that play higher stakes, making that move over. I do kind of feel like those skill sets are completely separate.
Like being a good entertainer and playing high stakes poker, yeah, they're like significantly different, especially in like the poker world, right? Because you have like the vast majority of poker players, come up in like they're like 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, like, and they just come into a bunch of money. They're not the most socially adverse people to begin with a lot of the time.
I mean, straight up, poker players are fucking weird, dude.
Yeah. No, definitely very weird.
And
then content creation people are weird as well.
Oh yeah, but in a different way.
This like really, really weird little mix of people.
I mean, I think content creators tend to be a little more socially aware.
Definitely more socially aware. Weird in different ways, I would guess. I mean to say, yeah.
Yeah, high stakes poker players, I've met a lot of them, and like I think that there's this image of high stakes poker players as being like amazing, super cool, awesome people traveling the world, have all this money, like banging all these bitches, just like got like the Lambo and the like.
It's like a whole bunch of homies like living in their grandma's basement, just clicking buttons on 20 tables.
So many people that like, first off, have way less money than you think. Everyone has this like idea. I made a video like a while ago called
"How much money do people have" or whatever.
Yeah. How much money do poker players really make or whatever?
Yeah.
And like everyone imagines that people have like millions and millions of dollars, and that's just not the case. I mean, there's no way to know everyone's finances.
But very few people that play these high stakes are just like rolling in millions of dollars and have all their action.
Very, very few people are rolled for like 100Ks.
Yeah.
Very few. I mean, like I'm not embarrassed to say, like I'm not bankrolled for 100K. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Like, like it's legitimately hard. I mean, to become bankrolled for 100Ks, you have to have like, because they're going to be tougher fields as well. I mean, we're talking like, at least 10, 15, $20 million to be able to play like 100Ks or 111Ks or whatever.
Yeah, just like happily.
Yeah, and like, guess what? Sometimes you lose millions of dollars. It's just like part of the swings, right? So there's definitely like this like perception of high stakes players that I think part of it is like a few of the guys that do have that money kind of give the perception to everyone. But there's
Mhm.
also so much like faking it till you make it in poker.
God,
Everyone
an
wants to let
insane
on.
amount.
Everyone
A
wants
lot
to
of that
let
in
on you've
tournaments
won.
as well, right? Like someone who like binks a tournament and then like just like goes and plays like the high stakes schedule on like the circuit for the next like 2 years or something, just like out there faking it till they make it, you know? Like you win like one tournament and you win like half of that amount of money, and then they just blow it in the next like 3 years, like traveling and stuff. I feel like a lot of people have done that playing like high stakes tournaments.
For sure, dude. It's the main thing that happens because like
Yeah.
so there's a couple like factors at play. I think when someone wins like a high stakes tournament, first off, you get this level of thinking that you're the shit that I mean isn't even your fault. Like let's say you win the main, right? And like I'm not talking about like this year's winner, but in past years. I think that we've seen a ton of people be like, I'm amazing. I won the main. Like I can play all these these high stakes events and stuff. And by the
Mhm.
way, that's good for poker. Like I strongly encourage like people doing that. I think it's like
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a good way to keep games going and to like, still be in play. But then sometimes, you get Jamie Gold buying into high stakes poker and like just like giving away like clear tells pre-flop as like what he has sitting on like 500,000 or whatever.
Oh man.
And like those are
Yeah.
some seriously irresponsible decisions that happen. So the first thing is like you become kind of delusional. And then the second thing is like it seems like more money than it really is. Like as someone like I've only ever won over $1 million of like personally
Sorry,
my
sorry.
money in one day, one time. It happened this summer, right?
Did you
But
say
like,
only $1 million though?
only
Like
yeah, only $1 million.
you're like Donnie Trump right now. You know, oh, when I got my first small loan of $1 million,
First small
just like
loan.
playing down, saying a million that you won $1 million. Yeah.
Okay, fair. But hold on here. I'm going somewhere with this, right? And you're like, okay, 1 million, I'm set. Well, first off, taxes. And if you're an American, get ready because you're going to
Mhm.
get destroyed. It's going to be 40% at least. Then, you have like 600K or whatever. Yeah, you can pay off your debts. You could buy like a reasonable car and like put down payment on a home, but then you're done. I mean, you have like 1 or 200K left liquid or something, if even. Like, I think people, when they win 1 million, which happens to people, they win tournaments, they win $1 million. They're like, oh man, life is different. I won the lottery. Okay, you kind of did, but it's for an amount of money where you still need to be like reasonable with your decisions. You're not on fuck you money. You're not on like I'm buying a fucking yacht money. You're not. That's not the situation.
I feel like in like the lower stakes of poker, like that goes on like even like tenfold. You know, like the amount of people that win like 40 grand in a tournament or something, and then just like blow through that like super quickly, you know, like on like a much smaller scale of just like thinking like, oh, I won like 40 grand in the tournament, like I'm the shit, like now I'm gonna play like every single 215 that runs, you know, and then like 3 months later they just have 5K left or something. I mean, like I sort of did that when I first started out playing poker, right? Like I spun up to like 50 and then was down to like 15 or so. Thought I was awesome. I wasn't.
I think everyone does that though.
Yeah.
You got to learn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody at some point thinks that they're better than they are. And then once the downswing rolls on, everyone at some point thinks they're worse than they are as well, I feel like.
That's also totally fair. I think that does happen more in tournaments though, because like your true skill is so masked.
Yeah,
Like
and like the swing's just so much crazier. Like, I mean, I remember like a cash game Rick telling me that like he never lost more than like 70 buy-ins or something like that. Just like, wow. It's pretty wild.
70 is a lot of buy-ins in cash.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's not
I'm
much.
I'm not sure I mean if I've had a downswing of more than that, it's like once or like
It's
I
pretty
mean,
crazy.
well, it also depends on the format too. Like for example, in like high edge formats, you're even less likely to have that happen to you.
Hmm.
But like in like I feel like if you're playing in like six max reg wars and stuff, then like yeah, that stuff can happen.
For sure. Yeah. You ever play any of those six max reg wars?
In like 2013 or 14, the Malaysia games were running
Hmm.
with Paul Fu. He was playing like 400, 800 every day and whatever.
Yeah.
I played some of those and I was like trying to get better at it, and I played a lot of 25-50.
Wait,
This
I
is actually
watched
kind
that
of
hand where he slow rolled you. Is that the guy?
Yeah, he slow rolled me in
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
400K pot.
I watched that, and that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I I still don't I was floored. Yeah, it was something. Like I didn't know who it was or anything too. He's just like, oh, I'm just gonna slow roll this guy.
That's like amazing. Like I love that. You know, like I mean, I just enjoy slow rolls. I think it brings like a really like fun aspect of the game. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're doing it to some guy that's like his month is gonna be ruined because of it, like that's not cool. But if like you're doing it to somebody who can like potentially laugh afterwards, even after being a little bit annoyed, I think it's like funny. Like
Well, I mean, it hurt. It was for a lot of money.
I can imagine one for 400K, and like the setting that I'm talking about, like isn't even relating to this at all because like you're just like a random dude online.
Yeah, but I
That's
also
pretty incredible.
you got to think about it like this, like Paul Fua to him like a 400K pot's like he's playing like 1-2, like whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. That's what I was gonna say as well. It's funny that he slow rolled you like when like he like the stakes are so small. But I guess that's like more reason for him to do it because he's just like having a laugh, you know?
if you slow rolled someone in like a legit like crazy high stakes spot, like if you were down to like you're playing heads up to win the World Series Poker main event, and like the guy jams the river, and then you just slow roll his ass for like 2 minutes.
That would be
That,
so savage. Can you imagine?
it would be the most devastating moment of your life by so much. Like, yeah, I mean, it would be brutal. It would be brutality.
I was a part of the most savage slow. I wasn't a part of it, but I was at the table to witness it of like the most savage slow roll I've ever seen. And it was like when I used to play like live poker primarily, and it was at the casino, like the at a 2-5 game with like two regs that like hated each other like more than like anybody hates each other and like I've ever played with in live poker. And it was like a 7-minute tank on the river, and then like the other guy in the hand finally called the clock, and then he took down to the very last second of the clock and called, and then it took them another 60 seconds, like flip their hand over because they had king high flush versus ace high flush, and they were both trying to slow roll each other.
Oh,
So like the ace high flush was making the king high flush so for show first, but he was trying to slow roll the other guy so badly. It was so good, dude. And then like another like 15 seconds once he finally turned over the king high flush and it took him to slow roll the aces. The whole river took like 8 or 9 minutes or something, and just like the most savage slow roll of all time. It was amazing.
yeah, that's unbelievable. I've never like trying to think about how much slow rolling I've really done in my life. I don't know if I've ever slow rolled somebody. I don't know. I don't know if I
I mean,
have.
didn't you slow roll somebody like when you guys were playing those 1-1 games in
No,
Vegas?
no, no, no. Joey slow rolled
Joey
me.
slow rolled. Joey slow rolled you. Okay, Joey slow rolled a lot of people. I
But
heard.
I figured it out because like we got to the river and like everyone's all in already, and me and Andrew Nemi both had aces on pre, and Joey had the like whatevs, and like the board had like a lot of dangerous stuff on it, so it was a clear
So
like,
he was just tanking, and yeah, you said you
and
started
and
like
then
rooting him on or
he
whatever.
took like he took like a couple seconds to like make a reaction, and I was like, oh god, we're getting like and then I just started like a chant like Joey Joe. And then like everyone's chanting it, and like, everyone in the room is like looking at the table. We're like all chanting, we're chanting, and he slams it down. Everyone goes wild. It was amazing, man. It was honestly amazing. I don't think I've I
You
could
gotta
be
you gotta
wrong.
you gotta mix in some slow rolls. Get
The
them in your
thing is,
arsenal.
like, I don't like slow rolling. Yeah, like kind of like you said, like I don't like slow rolling like middle of the road. If I
No,
slow,
never, never. I would never slow roll somebody I didn't know or dislike.
Fee slow
Um,
rolled me once. I remember that.
that's good. I like that. I like to hear that.
I had like aces and three bet and tripled off, and he took forever and like tank called the river and like river top two or something, and just like gobbled up all my money. Yeah, I remember that happening.
I tried this little in the like Connor and I were playing a 500 sit and go in Vegas, and I tried to slow roll queens, and I tanked for like 60 seconds, and then called with my queens, and
Slow
then
rolling queens is
he
dicey
hit an
though.
ace. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's what I'm saying. You know, he had ace 10 and he hit an ace. It was a tough one. It was I knew the consequences. I knew going into it. But yeah, Tonka first video slow roll module.
Slow
That
roll
seems
module.
that seems
Actually, it's gonna be after the make it to the break module.
after make it to the break module. Yeah, we're gonna have those will be our first two. They'll be good. They'll be good though.
High value. By the way,
High
guys,
value.
if you are in the lab, the first placement should already be up. I think it'll already be up. But we got a series with Tonk and Fees where you guys went through. Was a big 109 win?
Yeah, big 109 win for like 12K or something like that. But yeah, we had some fun hands. We had some funny spots where it was just like, all right, I was like, I prefaced them with like, all right, Ryan, some tournaments are about to happen on this end. Okay, so don't be too alarmed. Don't be too shocked. We're gonna do some tournaments here.
I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked he got in there for the tournament review, man.
Yeah, I mean it was good. Honestly, there was some fun spots, but other times he was just like, "Yeah, what the fuck," you know,
Dude,
like.
So Fees is so funny to me. Like I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and like Fees had always told me his entire life, I hate tournaments. I hate them. I absolutely hate tournaments. I don't want to be part of them. And he would just go off about it, right? And like I was
Super
like,
huge
well, look,
hater.
man, they're not my favorite type, but like the value, so I'm gonna play them. And then I think it was like either late 2014 or 2015. One day, like Fees just messaged me and he's like, hey, let's have a call. And he's like, dude, did you realize how much money were in these tournaments? Like they're playing for millions of dollars and they have no clue what's going on. And I was like, yes, I still know about this. And he's like, I love tournaments. And he played like every high roller and like whatever. And he was like ranting about how great that they were. And then like this went on right for a little while. And then like I don't know what happened. I actually, you know what is funny? It's not like he bricked a bunch of tournaments. He went to Macau and he got like second or third in some like high stakes, whatever. And he won like, I want to say $1 million, but maybe I'm wrong. And he got back and he's like, you know what? Tournaments are the worst. I had it right the first time. They're terrible. And then he's like,
wait, after he won a bunch of money?
I know. He won a bunch.
Is Ryan just like a complete freak, or like what's going on here? He's doing like all of the opposite things of what you're meant to do when it comes to tournaments.
Dude, he just decided that like he just hated them too much and like couldn't play them anymore. And like last summer, I think he played like one tournament and it was the tag team.
And you got him to play the main this year.
I got him to play the main. Yeah,
How long did he last in the main?
What's up?
How long did he last in the main?
Him or me?
Yeah.
He lasted till day 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we swapped 5 and like we're like texting at like 11 whatever. It starts at 12, I think, or maybe started whatever, something like that. And I'm like, he's like asking me some questions, and they were questions about something that indicated to me that he was not on his way to the main, like kind of like, I know you're not going to. And I was like, hey man, like the main starts at 12. He's like, dude. Amateurs late reg day 1, pros late reg day 2. And I looked at it and I was like, does that just mean you're going to get blinded out for like, and he gets there, right? And then on the first break, he's like, I was like, did you get here late? He's like, no, I got her on time. We're like, we're good. And then he's walking by my table and there's like a player that just moved to my table and he sees Fees walk by. He's like, do you know that guy? Doesn't know that like we're friends. He's like, that guy showed up an hour late to the table today. He got blinded out for an hour. And I was like, oh, really?
Just rats him out. That's awesome.
Just immediately rats him out. And my other swap, JMO, we swapped 5, just didn't bother to play.
Just didn't even play. He's like, no. He's like, can you win Bitcoin? Can you win Bitcoin in this tournament? Oh no, I'm not gonna play then.
No, I couldn't. My only legit swap was Andrew Nemi. He actually showed up and played. That was nice.
Yeah, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. Fuck, I was gonna say something, but now it's gone. Oh yeah, slow rolls. Someone mentioned the Deeb Mattisau slow roll, which is like a pretty fantastic slow roll as well. But like that's the kind of person like I wouldn't slow roll, But I thought that was like very, very funny.
That's one of the best slow. If you guys have not seen the slow roll on YouTube, you should definitely check it out. It's one of the best ones.
Really, really good stuff. Mike Mattisau gets so mad. That is too much.
He's not a happy camper when stuff like that happens.
He got so mad. There was some good slow rolls, I feel like, on like Poker After Dark back in the day or something.
Really? I don't remember that happening.
Maybe there wasn't.
Convictions.
Maybe there was just some big pots or something. I'm not sure.
All right, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I once again want to thank Tonka for joining us today for the podcast. It's been great having you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Super excited to be a part of Upswing. And yeah, it's been good.
Awesome. What's your upcoming schedule like? Where can people check you out at and see what you're up to?
Twitch, and I mean we'll be doing most of the days we'll be having a YouTube video as well. But yeah, I mean I'll be streaming Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at least on neverlucky.tv on my Twitch channel, and then sometimes on Saturdays.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you guys can check him out at neverlucky.tv, and looking forward to stopping on by. good to have you on the Upswing team, man.
Thanks, man. It's good to be with you. I'm excited.
All right, cool. That's going to do it for us today. If you guys want, we are going to have another podcast tomorrow. Phil Hellmuth stopping by, a little white magic, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Should be a good one. We're going to talk about the upcoming Heads Up match. I'm excited. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for stopping by. It's podcast week.